Welcome to this lesson on imperial measurements, length. Whenever we need to measure the length, width or height of something, we use standard units. You might be familiar with meters, centimeters and millimeters, but did you know that before we use those standard units, different units of length were used in the UK. These were known as imperial units. Some of these units still remain, such as the inch, the foot, the yard or the mile. So let's look at some of those imperial units. Here is a picture of a steel rule. This is a 6-inch rule. Let's take a closer look. Here we can see the first 2 inches of the 6-inch rule. The scale of this rule shows lines or graduations. There are 32 graduations per inch on this rule. So what are the graduations for? Think about fractions for a moment. We can divide an inch into smaller fractions. So an inch can be halved into 2 halves. Half an inch can be halved into 2 more halves. So we now have 4 quarters. Each quarter can be halved again, making 8 pieces or eighths. Each eighth can be halved again, making 16 pieces or sixteenths. Each 16th can be halved again, making 32 pieces or 30 seconds. Let's take a closer look at the graduations on the rule. Here we can see the first inch of the 6-inch steel rule. Inches can be written as 2 apostrophes or as in. Here we can see the graduation marks for fractions of an inch. So you can understand how big an inch is. 1 inch is equal to 25.4 millimeters or 2.54 centimeters. So we can divide the inch on this rule into any fraction as small as 1/32 of an inch. So here are some more fractions of an inch. Try looking for more fractions of an inch and writing them down. So we have seen what an inch is and what fractions of an inch are. But where did the inch come from? The inch has been around for many years. The Romans, Greeks and Egyptians all used parts of the body to measure with. The cubit, the length of the forearm, and the foot, the length of a person's foot are both ancient lengths of measurement. The word inch came from Latin uncia, meaning 12th. It is thought that a Roman's foot was 12 inches long. So, the length of a foot and an inch could vary from person to person and country to country. It wasn't until many years later that standard units were made for the inch, foot and yard. So, we now know that 12 inches equals 1 foot. There are 3 feet in 1 yard. There are 1,760 yards in 1 mile. So there are also 5,280 feet in 1 mile, as 3 feet equal 1 yard, and 3 times 1,760 yards equals 5,280. We have seen that inches can be written as 2 apostrophes. The foot can be written as 1 apostrophe. The yard can be written as YD. So, here we can see how the double apostrophe and the single apostrophe are used. So 12 inches equals 1 foot, 3 feet equals 1 yard, so 1,760 yards equals 1 mile. We have seen that many of the units of measurement have been around for many years. You may be more familiar with millimeters, centimeters and meters, but it is important you are aware of inches, feet, yards and miles, as the UK uses many of these imperial measurements today. We see road signs that give warnings in miles per hour, or mph, as car speedometers primarily give their readings in miles per hour. Television screens often have their size given in inches, and pizza diameters are usually in inches too. Many people often give their height in feet and inches. Do you? Now, let's look at the way that imperial units are used in sport. There are many dimensions relating to football that are given in imperial units. Size of the goal is equal to 8 yards long by 8 feet tall. Centre circle diameter is equal to 20 yards. Penalty spot is equal to 12 yards from the goal line. How many more imperial measurements can you find relating to football? There are many dimensions relating to netball that are given in imperial units. Height of the hoop is equal to 10 feet. Diameter of the hoop is equal to 15 inches. Length of the netball court is equal to 100 feet. How many more imperial measurements can you find relating to netball? There are many dimensions relating to cricket that are given in imperial units. Length between stumps is equal to 22 yards. Height of stumps is equal to 28 inches. Width of stumps is equal to 9 inches. How many more imperial measurements can you find relating to cricket? As we have seen, there are many dimensions in sport that are given in imperial units. Hopefully, you have been able to find many more examples. Why do you think that there are so many dimensions given in exact imperial units? The reason is that the rules for football and cricket were developed long before the metric system was adopted by the UK. Netball was derived from basketball, which was first played in the United States, who also used imperial units. In summary, we have discovered more about inches and fractions of an inch. We have seen the relationship between inches, feet, yards, and miles. We know that these standard units have been around for many years, and we still continue to use them today. We have seen how some sports still use imperial units today, and we know the reasons why. We have seen other areas, such as street signs, that use imperial units. Why don't you see how many more imperial measurements you can still find in use today?